Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Sinead Aherne. Today's top stories: a Waterford GP says now is not the time for complacency as the number of COVID cases worldwide increases. University Hospital Waterford's begun holding an outpatient clinic at the Solace Centre. A development of 89 houses and apartments on the outskirts of Waterford City has received planning permission. And in sport, former Republic of Ireland defender Damien Delaney says Manchester United need to find a prolific striker. A Waterford GP says complacency will be our enemy as the easing of lockdown restrictions continues. It's after the World Health Organization yesterday reported the biggest one-day increase in COVID-19 cases since the outbreak began. It's raised fears of a potential second wave in parts of Asia, but also in Europe, where the reproduction rate has shot up in Germany. Here at home, there were no deaths recorded on the island of Ireland yesterday and 6 new cases recorded in the Republic. There was no increase in Waterford. GP Jeff Plant spoke to WLR's Damien Tiernan.
This has not gone away, and there will be a surge and numbers in Waterford somewhere along the line. It's just not possible for this not to happen. So we all need to be ready and behaving ourselves as best we can.
He says we need to adapt.
You know, it's been a very tough and very stressful time for a lot of people, but we now have to adjust our lives, and this is what Tony Houlihan is saying all the time, to a slightly different way to the way we lived it before. We cannot go back to the way we lived it before until there is a vaccine, in my opinion anyway, because it's still in circulation, it hasn't gone away, and it will be back. So it's just, remember, you can live your life, but we need to adapt.
There's one confirmed case of COVID-19 at University Hospital Waterford. That's according to the HSE's daily operations update as of 8 o'clock last night. It's an increase of 1 since Saturday. A further 2 patients were awaiting the results of coronavirus testing. An outpatient clinic has begun at Waterford's Solace Cancer Support Centre. The charity is allowing University Hospital Waterford to use their facility over the next 2 months. Manager of the Solace Centre is Tracy McDade.
The Board of Trustees were very keen that the service and the centre would be put to use if it could be of any help, and we made contact with Grace Rothwell, the General Manager in the hospital, and we're thrilled then over the last number of weeks to be working with them, and an outpatients clinic started here this morning. So we're hugely proud to be part of the community effort in supporting the hospital here in Waterford.
Gardaí in Blanchardstown in Dublin are appealing for witnesses after a 57-year-old woman died violently at her home. A 60-year-old man was arrested after Jean Eagers was attacked and killed yesterday at a house in Willowwood Grove in Hartstown. Armed officers had to force their way into the property after a standoff. Crime editor with the Irish Sun, Stephen Breen, says a number of weapons are being looked at.
A samurai sword and a meat cleaver, and it's the Gardaí's belief that these were the weapons that were used to kill mother of 2, Jean Eagers. She is someone who was well known in the area, a very popular woman, a very quiet woman, came from a decent family. I mean, that's a very quiet area as well. Those weapons that were taken from the house are now being forensically examined.
A new report is warning that up to half the restaurants in Ireland could close because of the coronavirus crisis. The Restaurants Association of Ireland says restaurants are in need of a €1.8 billion bailout package to keep their doors open. Waterford-born economist Jim Power, who prepared the report, says the sector needs huge financial support.
In terms of the hierarchy of pain felt by different sectors of the economy, restaurants are way up there, because from the middle of March until the 29th of June, most of them have been effectively closed, although some have been doing a takeaway business. So surviving that sort of environment in itself is incredibly difficult.
The Students' Union at Waterford Institute of Technology say that a survey detailing students' experiences of sexual assault will help people come forward to report incidents. The Sexual Experiences Survey, which was launched today, shows almost 1 in 3 female students report being sexually assaulted while in college. However, the survey also shows that these incidents are not confined to just women, with 10% of male students and 28% of non-binary students also reporting non-consensual sex. Witsu Welfare Officer Paula Rochford says this survey will help tackle victim blaming.
So they have to be able to feel like if this has happened the night before, they know who they can go to the next day, and they know they're going to be listened to and taken seriously, because a lot of times a lot of victims feel like they're not going to be taken seriously at all, and that they're going to be told, well, are you sure that's what happened? Are you sure you weren't just too drunk? So we have to make sure students know that they can come forward and speak to the right people who can get them the help that they need.
The leaderships of Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil and the Greens are making a final push to pass the programme for government. Postal ballots from the three party memberships will be sent off over the coming days. Our political correspondent Sean Defoe reports.
This week we'll know whether or not there's going to be a new government. On Friday the votes will be counted after the memberships of Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil and the Greens have voted on whether or not to back the deal. Many of those ballots will be posted today and tomorrow, and there's a final push on from both sides of the argument. Green Party leader Eamon Ryan has once again urged his members to back the deal.
I'm hoping that they'll vote yes, and that we can enter into government, and that won't be easy. It's probably one of the most challenging times possible.
But there's division, with party chairperson Hazel Chu among the latest influential figure to come out against the programme for government. If it doesn't pass, there's no settled plan B, and a second general election could be on the cards. But Fianna Fáil's Eamon O'Queeve has said it shouldn't come to that.
I think, again, that it would be reckless of us to go to the country. And I have severe doubts if the President would necessarily dissolve the Dáil.
He's leading the no side for Fianna Fáil, and there will be a flurry of texts, tweets and Zoom calls from both camps over the next few days as they try to win hearts and minds. Sean Defoe, Leinster House.
A Waterford TD says Gaeltacht regions are the perfect places for further developing business, cultural and community hubs. Mark O'Cosig was speaking in the Dáil about climate action and low carbon development. He says the Gaeltacht is a part of Ireland that for decades has just been surviving.
Gaeltacht regions are often marked by migration of young people to cities, while their economic lifeline depends heavily on tourism and summer schools, two sectors that will be severely hit this year. But like so many parts of our country and economy, the Gaeltacht is resilient and adaptive to change. Over the last 3 months we've heard time and again about the merits of remote working and digital hubs that save many of our workforce long and stressful commutes, high rents and cramped office space. In an effort to achieve a better regional balance across our island, Gaeltacht regions start me as a perfect place for further developing business, cultural and community hubs.
Conditional planning permission has been granted for 89 homes in Waterford. The development at Knockboy on the Dunmore Road consists of 57 houses and 32 apartments. Waterford company Holly Hill Developments is behind the project. The organisers of a Waterford charity cycle for mental health services say they're thrilled after reaching their fundraising goal. The event, in aid of Suicide or Survive, surpassed its fundraising target on its final day yesterday, overtaking its €10,000 target. Cycle for SOS had been underway since the 8th of June. Ciara Hennebury is one of the organisers.
This morning we just did the final figures there and the money's still coming in. So on our GoFundMe page we have 11,700, I think, just over it. Thanks so much to every single person that donated. Not only do we have the GoFundMe, but there've been so many local people that have thought of their own initiatives. So yesterday we had the Copper Coast Cycling Group present us with a cheque of €600. We've also had so many local people reach out to their own circles, which have got like €400 or €500 each. So in the bank then we have some offline donations, and in total now we have over €14,000, which is absolutely amazing.
Sports News on WLR.
With Virgin Media Waterford. Want super fast broadband today? Drop into Virgin Media George's Street and take it home with you. Easy as that.
Starting with soccer, where Manchester United need to find a prolific striker to progress under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That's the view of former Republic of Ireland defender Damien Delaney. United return to action with a 1-1 draw and are 5 points off the top and top four and automatic qualification for the Champions League. Delaney told OTB Sports that there is a lot of talent at United, but that they lack a regular goal scorer.
There is enough creativity with Fernandes and Pogba, but is there enough people to get on the end of it, and is there enough people to score the goals that they're going to require? Because I almost feel like United will concede goals. So is there enough, for them to get 2 or 3 goals a game? I don't think they're that type of team, and they're not set up for 1-0 wins. So they kind of have a lot of attacking players, but I just don't see them getting 2 or 3 goals a game.
There's one game in the Premier League tonight. Second place Manchester City host Burnley from 8. In the AFL, Irish Aussie rules player Conor McKenna is at the centre of storm in the Australian media after testing positive for COVID-19. The Tyrone native, who plays for Aston Bombers, is reported to have broken quarantine restrictions before the positive test last Friday. Australian TV station 7 News says that there is a false positive line of inquiry, but that it's too early to say. The 24-year-old's asymptomatic and had returned all negative tests previously Friday, but the positive test has led to the AFL banning contact training for large groups for the next 4 weeks. And in racing, there's action at Roscommon and Limerick today. The first of a 7-race card is just underway at Roscommon, and the first of 8-race card at Limerick goes to post at 4:10. Sports news on WLR is thanks to Virgin Media Waterford. WLR asks you to stay safe by keeping your distance. Our next bulletin is at 2.